Girl, the drama between Tamar Braxton and Kandi Burruss has been going on for years, but lately, people online have been asking whether there is much more behind this feud than what we've seen publicly. For years, fans have watched these two women exchange shots, disagree over past situations, and occasionally throw subtle jabs at each other. But now, new online claims are bringing Tamar's sister Toni Braxton into the conversation, with some people suggesting that Toni may have a very different perspective on the entire situation. Before we go any further though, let's make something clear. Some of the claims circulating online are allegations and commentary, not established facts. There is no verified evidence here proving that Tamar attempted to sabotage Kandi's career. So we're going to separate the public history from the rumors and let you decide what you think. The tension between Tamar and Kandi became especially noticeable around the time of the Great Xscape tour. Xscape was touring with Tamar and Monica, and according to their later public discussions, there was clearly tension between Tamar and Kandi during that period. The situation became even more visible when Tamar and Kandi appeared together on Celebrity Big Brother. Tamar described her experience during the tour as extremely difficult, especially because she was already dealing with problems in her personal life and career. She also felt that Kandi had gotten involved in situations that Tamar believed were personal. From Tamar's perspective, she felt that Kandi had made comments about things she didn't fully understand, and that she should have stayed out of the situation. But Kandi gave a completely different version. Kandi essentially said that she and the members of Xscape were not intentionally trying to make Tamar's life difficult. According to Kandi, Tamar seemed to believe that the group was purposely trying to interfere with her performances or make her uncomfortable. But Kandi said that was not their intention. And this is where the feud became complicated. Because both women seemed to believe they were reacting to the other person's behavior. Tamar felt disrespected, Kandi felt misunderstood, and neither side seemed willing to completely back down. At one point, Tamar became frustrated when Kandi laughed during their conversation. For Tamar, the laughter appeared disrespectful because she was trying to explain how she felt. Kandi, however, explained that she wasn't laughing because she wanted to hurt Tamar. She felt that Tamar was interpreting the situation based on assumptions about what was happening in her head. And honestly, this exchange showed just how deep the communication problems between them had become. Years later, the tension still hadn't completely disappeared. Another major issue came up when Kandi discussed a proposed Xscape-related biopic. Kandi was upset about the possibility of someone telling the group's story without proper involvement from the members. Toni Braxton was later asked about similar situations involving unauthorized stories, and she explained that the entertainment industry often produces unauthorized versions of people's lives. Her point was basically that entertainers have to deal with people telling their stories, whether they approve of it or not. But that wasn't the only time Tamar and Kandi exchanged public shots. Social media became another battlefield. At one point, Tamar criticized Kandi's singing abilities online, while promoting her own music. And then things got even more serious when Tamar posted about being threatened, apparently referring to an incident involving Kandi and her husband Todd Tucker. Tamar later indicated that the situation was real, and that she wasn't simply creating drama for attention. Kandi also made it clear that she had no interest in continuing the same cycle of conflict. During an interview, she was asked whether Tamar could appear on a future version of her show. Kandi's response made it pretty clear that she wasn't looking to bring the feud back into her life. She essentially said she wasn't interested in playing games and didn't want to return to the same kind of drama. Tamar responded in her own way, including social media posts that appeared to reference the situation. And at that point, fans were left wondering whether these two women would ever actually put the feud behind them. But now comes the part that has people talking. Online rumors have claimed that Tamar's issues with Kandi may have gone beyond personal disagreements and allegedly entered the professional world. Some people are claiming that Tamar may have tried to interfere with Kandi's opportunities within the music industry. There have even been allegations that she used industry relationships and the Braxton family name to influence promoters or executives. But once again, these claims are not established facts. There is a major difference between an internet rumor and documented evidence of career sabotage. And that distinction matters. Because accusing someone of intentionally destroying another person's career is a very serious allegation. So rather than presenting those rumors as confirmed, it's better to look at the history that we actually know about. Kandi built a career that went far beyond singing. She became involved in television, restaurants, theater, business ventures, and production. She created multiple income streams and continued expanding her career outside of music. Meanwhile, Tamar has also had an extensive career of her own, including music, television, reality shows, and other entertainment projects. Both women have experienced major successes, both have experienced public setbacks, and both have had their share of controversies. So the idea that one woman was simply trying to destroy the other is much harder to prove than social media makes it seem. Still, there are people who believe jealousy may have played a role, and that theory is partly fueled by the number of times Tamar publicly criticized Kandi. But criticism doesn't automatically equal jealousy. Sometimes people genuinely dislike each other. Sometimes two personalities simply don't work well together. And sometimes a disagreement becomes bigger because millions of people are watching. Another person who entered this conversation was Jessie Wu. According to comments discussed in the source material, Jessie had positive things to say about working with Kandi. She described Kandi as humble, easy to work with, prepared, and helpful toward other people in the industry. Jessie even recalled situations where Kandi would connect people with others who could help them professionally. That paints a very different picture from the negative reputation sometimes portrayed online. But again, one person's positive experience doesn't automatically prove that every other person's experience was the same. People can have completely different relationships with the same person. That's especially true in entertainment. One person may think you're amazing to work with. Another person may have a completely different experience. So what should we make of the Tamar and Kandi situation? At this point, there are really two separate stories. The first is the documented public feud. We've seen the disagreements, we've heard both women discuss their perspectives, we've seen the social media exchanges, and we've watched their relationship remain complicated over the years. The second story is the much more dramatic allegation that Tamar may have attempted to interfere with Kandi's career behind the scenes. That part remains in the category of online claims, unless credible evidence comes forward. And honestly, that distinction is important, because celebrity gossip can quickly turn speculation into fact. Someone makes a post, another page repeats it, a third page adds more details, and suddenly people believe the original rumor has been proven simply because they've seen it everywhere. But repetition isn't evidence. That's why when we're talking about serious accusations involving real people, we need to be careful. Maybe Tamar and Kandi will never become close friends. Maybe they will eventually move past everything, or maybe they'll simply continue living separate lives and refuse to engage with each other. Either way, their careers are much bigger than their feud. Kandi has continued building her business empire. Tamar has continued pursuing her own career. And both women have proven that they can succeed independently. So perhaps the biggest lesson from this entire situation is that not every celebrity feud has to have one clear villain. Sometimes two people simply don't get along. Sometimes misunderstandings grow into resentment. And sometimes years of small disagreements eventually turn into a headline-making feud. As for the latest claims involving Toni Braxton, there is not enough reliable information here to say that Toni has officially accused Tamar of sabotaging Kandi. That should be treated as an allegation, rather than a confirmed revelation. But the fact that people are still discussing this feud after so many years shows just how much interest there is in the relationship between these two entertainment personalities. And if more credible information ever comes out, the story could look very different. For now, the safest conclusion is simple. Tamar and Kandi have had a very public and complicated history. They have disagreed over tours, comments, social media, and personal boundaries. Both women have told their own versions of what happened. And the more serious claims about behind-the-scenes career sabotage remain allegations that should not be presented as proven fact. So now I want to hear from you. Do you think Tamar and Kandi should finally put this feud behind them? Do you believe their disagreements were mostly misunderstandings? Or do you think there is much more happening behind the scenes than the public has ever seen? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you enjoy celebrity deep dives, internet drama, and stories where we separate the rumors from what can actually be verified, make sure you subscribe to **TruthLeak Umpire***. Because sometimes the most interesting part of the story isn't the rumor, it's figuring out what is actually true.